So you know how people always say, trust your gut? It's a really hard thing to do when you have anxiety, because my gut is telling me like something's wrong, when that's not actually the case. And so I always find that saying really interesting when people say, trust your gut.
Today on Selfdom, I'm thrilled to be joined by Dean and Ash, the founders of MYND, an incredible platform dedicated to improving mental health awareness, education, and support for communities across Australia. Dean and Ash are a power couple who have turned their personal experiences and passion for mental well-being into a movement that's helping people take care of their minds in practical, meaningful ways. In this conversation, we'll dive into their journey, the story behind MYND, the impact it's having, the lessons they have learned along the way about resilience, community, and mental health advocacy. This is one you won't want to miss. Welcome to Selfdom.
Thanks, Dom.
Thanks so much for having us.
We go so way back.
Yeah,
like
we do.
15 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Which is psycho.
Yeah.
And I knew you guys separately, and now you're married.
I know.
And now we're sitting here doing a podcast.
Small world.
How great is that? And you guys are doing something super impactful, super purposeful. So I'm so excited to dive into it today. So mental health is obviously the main part of this conversation. I would love to know why it's so important to each of you. So maybe Dean, you can start.
For sure. I think for me, I lost my mum when I was 18. And I think for me, it was such a formative time in my life where I just finished school, went on a gap year and came home early, and unfortunately lost my mum then. And then for me, it was trying to figure out the best ways to, I guess, manage myself. And I think over time, I learned how to do it. And I think I've built certain things into my life like running and exercise and meditation, and just having a really good support system with Ash and my family and my friends. And I think for me, if I've got a really, I guess, sound mental health, it makes me a better person, and I'm able to actually help people and I guess be the best person to the people that I love.
Yeah. Well, I can definitely resonate and like feel that with you now. Obviously losing my mum this year. So I can imagine at the age of 18 how difficult that would have been. So I really commend you for taking that hard time and putting it into something really powerful.
Thank you. And you too as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let them be our driving force.
Absolutely.
Ash?
Yeah, I've always been, it's so interesting because I think I studied psychology not straight out of school, but a year after, and always was really interested in like that side of things. But it was actually in 2021 where my mental health just had such a dip, and I really just didn't know what to do. It was such a difficult time, and I think that really shook my understanding of mental health. I'd always I'd always say I'm anxious or I'm sensitive, etc. And I think a lot of people would like notice that about me. But this was so different. This was constant panic attacks. They were happening between, 10 to 15 times a day. Really like your whole identity kind of shifts in that moment. And I think that really understanding that depth of mental health has changed my perspective completely, and obviously is what led to MYND. So
Why do you think you struggled so much in 2021? Because obviously that was COVID at the time. You're in Melbourne. I know it was a bit harder, but do you have some key points that really led to that darker time in your life?
Yes, actually. It was a I haven't actually spoken about this with people. So it was actually a therapist that I was seeing at the time. I feel like she was trying to pull something out of me that wasn't there. And I learned a lot about the like therapeutic relationship in that state of being like, just because somebody's a professional, it does not make them the expert in your life. And I didn't know that at the time. I know that in hindsight. But, she was asking me to like search for things and like find where something came from, and, you know, really go into my childhood and I think there's always a place for that. But it felt like she wasn't listening to me when I said that doesn't resonate or that's not true for me. But at the end of the day, I thought she was an expert. And so I went deep diving, and what led to, I would argue, was a mental breakdown. I came home to Dean, and I still like have flashbacks of that, because I remember feeling that I was like saying certain things, but my brain was saying something else, and I like couldn't understand why that was happening. And from that moment, things shifted. Everything changed in my mental health. And obviously, we had COVID. We had been isolated. You know, it had been the two of us. You're not really in your normal life. That like maybe had those conversations with that person happened, it would have been just part of a range of things that happen in your day or in your week. But obviously COVID, it was like, oh, we went for a walk, and that was a big deal. And, you know, I had my psych appointment, and that was something that like really stood out in that time. So maybe it would have been different had that not been that COVID period as well.
How often were you seeing this lady?
Once a week.
Wow. And did you keep seeing her after the mental breakdown?
No, I didn't. I stopped, which I think is also a really important lesson. I actually called her. I told her that my mental health had never been worse than when I'd been seeing her, and that she needed to look into that as well. And she was very apologetic. She, you know, and I hope that she's since, you know, I'm not blaming her by any means. I'm saying that, you know, as humans, we make errors in judgment or we make mistakes. But I needed her to know, especially as somebody wanting to be a psychologist, I am like, you have a lot of power. You have a lot of influence, especially when people are feeling vulnerable, and you need to be aware of that. And that is a pinpoint in my life where things changed.
Yeah, it sounds like it's your driving force now to be a support network for people, because you obviously experienced a really hard time with a practitioner that wasn't aligned with you. And again, I love how you say it. There's no blame on her. She may have been a good practitioner for someone else.
Yes, definitely.
But she was obviously going down the wrong route for you. You were in a vulnerable place. But now in hindsight, it's led to you creating MYND, which is super impactful, super powerful. So lead me from the journey. So you have this mental breakdown. What happens from there till now?
A lot of work. So I'm in therapy. I have a great psychologist. I've had two since that person. So again, just like huge, I'm a really big advocate for therapy. So just because one person's not the right person, I compare it to dating. Like you might have to go through a lot of average shit ones to get a good one.
Kiss a few frogs.
Amen.
Yeah.
So anyway, from there, so I guess from that point, I knew that something really needed to shift. Dean was obviously extremely concerned as well. My family, like people around, like I actually didn't speak to my friends about it for a long time because I felt like such shame and embarrassment, which definitely did not help. But I went to the GP to get the mental health care plan, and it was a 3-month wait to get in to see a therapist. That actually hasn't changed.
What? It's quite wild, because I would understand during COVID there would be such a long wait. People have more time to do the mental health plan. But in 2025, for there to be such a long wait is wild, because people won't wait. And in that wait time, it could be detrimental to some people.
Yeah, definitely. And it was detrimental, 100%, because when you're struggling with mental health, like I would argue, like when you're struggling with anything, like, you know when you have a paper cut, it's all you can think about. Yeah. It's like something anyway. But like with mental health, a day it feels long. And because often it was difficult to eat, it was difficult to sleep, and as it was COVID. So you're not having those touch points as well. And it was that 3 months felt like years. And anyway, I finally got in to see my therapist. I went on medication. So again, I am on anti-anxiety medication.
But you didn't have medication for that 3 months?
No.
Wow.
Actually, I refused medication for a further 6 months. I was very medication reluctant. I felt such stigma. I didn't know anyone on medication really.
That you knew of.
That I knew of. Anyway, as soon as I started talking about it, God, they just popped out. And I was like, oh, me too, me too, me too. I was like, what about you guys?
Yeah.
What happened?
It's been 9 months,
Yeah.
guys. Where were you?
Seriously.
Why is no one talking about this?
Yeah. It was actually Dean who was, and my psychologist at the time, but such a driving force to get on medication. Something really needed to change there. And
But I also think congratulations and like kudos to you for trying other routes, because I think then you've got these healthy routines and habits in place before you medicate. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Even how you were talking about running and things like that. There are other ways, but sometimes it's so serious, like you do need the medication.
yeah. And I mean, I don't know why people feel embarrassed about it, because if I said to you that you had diabetes or you had a thyroid issue, you'd just take your things away every day. But this just felt, there was still such a stigma. Still is a stigma, I think people still would feel. And anyway, I was able to start to manage again, which was huge.
How quickly, maybe I'll ask Dean as your husband, how quickly did you see a shift in Ash?
So yeah, it was a quite quick adjustment. And I think watching her transition from, I guess, pre-medication to post-medication, just watching the way she would, I guess, interact with me, interact with her day-to-day life, like waking up clear-minded, going for a walk, exercising, doing all the things that like promote, I guess, positive mental health, really made a massive difference. And I think just the way, I guess, just being a clear mind going forward. And it also, I guess, made our relationship better as well. Not because anything to do with both of us. It was just like there was a barrier in between us, because I guess her negative experience with what she was struggling with would cause friction naturally. But it doesn't have to be natural as well. So I guess navigating that journey with her pre-medication is also quite a tough journey for someone who's not experiencing it. And I think no one knows how to deal with it on both sides. So there's a lot to learn there as well.
Yeah, I think that's really empowering for people who might be listening who have a partner who is dealing with anxiety and the question to go on medication or not. It's a full journey for both of you, for both parties. So you got through it, you got married. So how long have you been on medication for now?
So I went on medication, it was 2022, around in June 2022. I was on medication for 2 years. So 2024, I tried to go off it. That didn't work for me. So I'm back on. Again, I would have thought that I would have been so much gentler, so much kinder, and so much quicker to go back on medication, knowing how good it is for me. And I was still so reluctant.
I
felt like a bit like a failure. I know it's stupid.
We
But
we were in Tokyo, and Ash had weaned off her medication in the build up to it, in the weeks leading to our holiday, and it was just a bit of a, like, I guess each day got progressively worse. And just being, I mean, it doesn't help when you're in Tokyo and the hotel rooms are tiny as well with no windows. But I think the reluctance, it sort of brought back memories of what 2 years ago felt like. And I guess just trying to not push her to go back onto medication, but try help her get back onto the right path that she knows that works for her. There was still that reluctance and trying to, I guess, converse with someone who might struggle to, I guess, obviously in that state, think straight as well.
Yeah, but now you know that it works really well for you.
Yes.
And so that's been your journey. Thank you so much for sharing that. So then how did MYND come about? What was the next step?
So during the 3-month period of not being able to get in to see a therapist, as I said, those days and times were really hard. And so I went to apps to, try and get some relief. And I was just met with, a lack of personalization, generic content. I felt that the responsibility was really on me to know what I needed, which actually made things a lot worse, to be honest. When I think anyone who's struggled with mental health, there is that thought that crosses your mind of like, I am the first person, I'm the only person that has ever gone through this, because it feels so unique to you. It feels so jarring. And so going on these apps and not seeing myself in them kind of confirmed that in my mind and added to that feeling of isolation. And I think made me feel so disheartened that it felt like I was going to be stuck like that. And so once I, as I said, got into therapy, got on medication, I was able to start to manage again. I turned around to Dean probably around a year after that episode and said, I can't believe there's nothing personalized in the mental health space. We personalize everything in our lives, but we can't personalize the thing that's most personal to us. And he actually said, well, why don't we create it? And so that's
I knew it was more of a backhanded comment, just to be like, I didn't think we'd be.
You got an app.
Yeah, exactly. I just sort of said, let's build it. Yeah. And Ash met with Hyper, who we started our project with, and we were both hesitant at first, and then I guess that's where the journey started.
I mean, it's a huge thing to make an app. Like, how did you just jump right in there?
Can I tell you, I actually thought, I looked at apps and I was like, this is simple. Like, just surely, like, people create websites all the time. There are apps everywhere. I'm like, how hard could it be? It is so hard.
And your app is really well done. Like, you can go on some apps. Tom was trying to actually make an app for us using AI.
Yes.
He was sitting there for 6 hours getting so frustrated. And I was like, we don't need an app though, but he gets in his head he needs to do something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was like, this shit is so hard. And then I have such like commendment to you guys for doing it.
Thank you.
How long did it take from the idea to having the product ready to go?
It's since that conversation, it's been 3 years.
Oh, whoa.
We've been thinking about the idea since then and talking about it for 18 months after that. And then we started development in July last year.
Yeah.
And now we're ready to launch.
Unreal. So what were you doing before?
So I'm still working full time. So I'm in medical cannabis, which is another conversation.
Yeah, let's open that one right up.
I work for a European cannabis company.
And is your reasoning for that because it's helped you with your mental health, or you just love it? Or?
No, it was just. I mean, I'm not a user. It was just by chance I landed a job at a Melbourne-based company.
Wow.
And then moved over to a European one.
Unreal.
Earlier this year, yeah.
Sell through the app? No.
Yeah. It's a good plug.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And you? So are you working full-time as well still?
No, I'm not. I'm working full-time on MYND.
Amazing.
Yes, I went full-time in May this year. So, that's been a huge jump, but so worth it.
So what sets MYND apart from the other apps? You were talking about how it's more personal.
Mm-hmm.
I went on it today and that you can click how you're feeling and then it will personalize like a meditation or a movement for you. Is there a way that people can speak to you one-on-one? Or is it more just like the meditations, the breath works on the app?
Not yet. I think there will be, in the future, things that we do want to do in terms of being able to speak to people and not necessarily me, but other people, professionals in the space. But right now it is, the tools and exercises to help people manage on demand. So in everyday life.
So have you found modalities like breath work, like movement have really helped alongside the medication?
Oh, definitely. So I think that it's all encompassing. I think medication has, for me, again, I just really want to make
your
sure
journey,
that everyone needs to do their own thing. But for me, medication allowed me to do all of the things that are good for me because I think the way my psychologist said it is that, sometimes your brain needs a holiday. to be able to then do what you need to do for yourself. So it allowed me to, movement is a huge part. I have to exercise, whether that's walking, Pilates, strength training, anything. It's just a really big part of something that I have to do. And I can easily see when I don't do it how my mental health shifts. Meditation is a massive one as well. I had done Ayurvedic meditation, which is like when you have a mantra, but now finding, especially when you are struggling, that can be really difficult to be, again, in your own thoughts and your own brain. So having like a guided option as well has been huge. And then like all the modalities that we have on the app are things that have obviously, scientific research and like backing, and also are things that I've used myself and other people. Like we did questionnaires around, what people want to see, what they need, and these are all things that have kind of culminated into one place, which people don't have access to unless they, I guess, have the knowledge or somebody's told them to go and look for these things, because otherwise people really don't know how to use them as well.
And I think we live in an area that is around these healthy modalities, but it's actually not normal or not known to the masses.
Yes.
I would really love to see, when you do see a psychologist, that they would show you an app like MYND and say, use these tools as well. Was that something they ever shared with you? Obviously not MYND, but healthier alternative modalities?
Yeah, I think that, to be honest, my current psychologist, she has not had, like, her patients haven't had the best experience with apps. So I've been sending her MYND and she's like, this is amazing, because there's things that she's taught me that are in the app. So, how to breathe if you're having a panic attack, how to, do different things on your fingers. Like, it's a guided exercise, but all of those things are things that she's said, oh, I wish there was just something that, could help. Even before we went to, as Dean said, before we went to Tokyo, I sent her a message being like, I don't know if I can say it. Anyway, her name's Caroline. Hopefully it's fine if I say her name. Caroline, I'm freaking out. Like, things aren't going well. We're going away. Everything's, feeling scary again. And she was sending me like PDF documents, and she was like, once you have MYND, you'll actually be able to use something.
Great.
So there are a lot of things that they've taught me, and they're obviously grounded in, psychology, but not really anything that's, I guess, been that helpful, to be honest.
And I think as well, it's having, 2-minute tools. You're having a panic attack right now.
Yes.
What do I do? And people can Google doctor and make themselves more anxious. But imagine you just go on MYND and click on it and be like, okay, I'm going to breathe slowly. I'm going to do this. I actually want to ask you both individually, what are the symptoms for you that make you realize that you have anxiety? Because I think people are listening to this. Even my girlfriend today, she's like, I found out I have ADHD. She's 35. She just found out. And she's like, I don't know how I feel. She just had a baby. Like, she's got so much on her plate. And I think people are being diagnosed quite late in life. So if someone's listening to this and they're unsure, what are some common symptoms that you might be dealing with anxiety?
Oh.
Well, you go first.
The list is really long, unfortunately, because anxiety shows up physically. So the one that a lot of people would say is like stomach issues. So the gut and mind brain, we know that. We know how connected they are. And so you feel like it's like, when people said butterflies in your stomach, it's because it's so connected. So stomach issues, heart palpitations, people can think that they're having a heart attack when really they're having an anxiety attack, sweating, obviously then there's racing thoughts, there's intrusive thoughts. It really goes into like a lot of different spaces. For me, it's my stomach. So you know how people always say trust your gut? It's a really hard thing to do when you have anxiety, because my gut is telling me like something's wrong, when that's not actually the case. And so I always find that saying really interesting when people say trust your gut, because That's how it mainly shows up for me, with stomach, blurry vision,
Wow.
heart palpitations. I feel like I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for you, someone who maybe has anxious thoughts here and there.
I think for me, it's the like decision-making process, like the smallest decisions, like what to have for dinner, or just like having a conversation with Ash, and I'm more concerned about like pleasing her than like what I'm focusing on, because I think that if I please her, then my anxious thoughts or the way I'm feeling will feel a lot better. And yeah, I think that's, for me, it's been a common theme, that whole decision-making process, more on a personal level. Work level and in a professional setting, I've got no issue with making big decisions. But when it comes to like everyday decisions, I struggle with that.
Well, I want to dive into men's mental health.
Yeah.
Obviously, you mentioned that you lost your mum at a really young age. I feel like we're the same age. So 12 years ago, no one was really talking about mental health for men. How did you deal with your emotions back then?
You're right. I think back then I probably didn't realize that it was mental health. I think I was trying to find things to make me feel better.
Because you were doing like big run. Were you doing like...
No, so I wasn't doing the runs yet.
Oh, yeah.
So,
is that a new thing?
Yeah, that's a new thing.
That's a different strategy.
Yeah.
So I think back then, I mean, I was 18. We just finished school. We just got on
Yeah,
our
I was
gap
with
year. Yeah, we were
partying.
Yeah. And I think all my friends were still going out, so I'd get caught up. We're going out drinking.
Even after your mum passed away,
yeah.
you found just to feel part of something, I guess. Yeah.
Just to feel part of it. And I think for better or worse, I mean, I wasn't abusing alcohol, but it could have been a bit of a cover up at the same time. And I think later on in life, I've found different ways to, I guess, deal with my mental health. Running for me, I get into a very meditative state. And I know Ash will always question why I go for long runs.
4 hours later. Yeah. Where were you?
But yes, there is definitely a massive stigma with men's health, men's mental health. It's something that should be spoken of. You shouldn't be scared to speak about it. And I'm trying to, I guess, promote that within my friendship group, just to reach out, make sure even asking the simple question, like, how is your mental health? Like, you can be very direct with it, to get to the point without beating around the bush. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are losing their lives to mental health, particularly men as well. And I think there is no shame to speak up, to seek help. And yeah.
I think it's a really good piece of advice to say, how's your mental health? Because how often do people say, hey, how are you? Yeah, I'm good. How are you? Like, everyone just says, I'm good. Everyone's just masking. But if you just say, like, how is your mental health, and get really deep. I'm actually seeing a friend soon this week, and I'm going to ask you that question, because I feel that when I check in and I say, how are you? She's, I'm good. But I know that she's not. And that's kind of a way to open that can of worms and speak super honestly with each other. Do you find now that you're 30, your social arrangements less revolved around alcohol?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't drunk for 6 months.
Wow.
I had some stomach issues, and that resulted in no alcohol, which has been...
Forever?
No, not forever.
Oh.
I'm not too sure when I'll be able to drink again, but I think for me it's been a blessing. Removing alcohol, not by choice, has probably been a very eye-opening experience, because there are a lot of things that revolve around drinking and socializing with alcohol, which is not a bad thing at the end of the day, obviously within reason and knowing your limits. But yeah, I think a lot of my friends are moving into the whole running sphere, which for me is an absolute...
You guys got to move to Bondi, guys. There's like 25 run clubs happening.
No,
but
You can come to my walk club.
Thank you. I feel like people like, you know that meme? It's like men turn 30 and they get like either a bike or they start a marathon.
Yes.
Like training.
It's a
That's
full
what's
thing.
happened.
We were talking about that today at Pilates, because they have a group of men who come at the 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And they are in their 40s, but they're like own the gym and they're really into it. They've done marathons. They've done high rocks.
Oh, yeah.
What's
and now
that?
they're getting into like canoeing.
Oh,
Canoeing.
But like for
Love that.
days.
Love
don't
that.
give him another thing.
Where you
Don't
bring
give
your
him another-
backpack
no.
and you
Yeah.
like the boys are getting. I mean, look, you'd rather do that than just smashing beers at the park.
No,
Yeah.
definitely.
For your mental health.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Of course.
And I like the way you speak about alcohol because I'm nearly my 1 year sobriety.
Wow.
And for me personally, the more I'm sober, the more I never want to drink again.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's really exciting. Doing a sober wedding was like the real challenge, and I was like, I had the best time. But I think that we don't need to demonize it, and I think that's my biggest thing is everything in moderation.
Yeah.
And like my friends who have been 6 months sober, and then they're like, oh, I don't know if I want to drink again. I was like, as long as you realize if you drink again, no one else cares. It's only on you.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, but I've been sober for 6 months. I don't want to break it, but you're the only one who does.
Exactly.
Like no one else
No one
cares.
else- no one else
You know
is
what I
counting as
mean?
well.
Fully.
And then be proud of that 6
Yeah,
months.
definitely.
So I think balance is everything, and you know, especially for men, because I see Tom, so much social arrangements happen around booze. Whilst women, we go to Pilates, and we
Go
get a
for walks.
matcha.
Yeah.
Like I feel like for guys, it is still a thing. So it's interesting to hear that you've done the 6 months not by choice.
Yeah.
But you're loving it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been nice because I mean I can still go out to all these arrangements where they are drinking, and I'm just having a soda water.
He's hydrating for his
I'm
run tomorrow.
Exactly.
100%.
But I wake up and like I love waking up on a Sunday morning without any Sunday scaries,
Oh, yeah.
and just being very clear, going for a run or just going for a walk.
Well, you're co-founder of MYND, and then you're also working full time, so you kind of need to be switched on.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And do you do any, apart from running, like the breath work, meditation? Is that part of your rituals and habits?
Yeah, so meditation as well. So I did the same course as Ash did back in 2021, I think. But similar to Ash, I've also moved away from the Ayurvedic, and I like the whole guided meditation. I think it helps me switch off more rather than just sitting there for 20 minutes repeating my mantra and over and over again. And recently, I guess with MYND, getting into breath work as well, which has been fun.
It's good for performance.
Yeah, it is.
We had Rory on the podcast, Warnock, who's like ultra marathon runner.
Yeah.
He's a breathwork coach, but performance based, and like he did a half marathon with mouth tape on,
Oh,
just breathing through his
Wow.
nose to prove that you can, like, you don't need to be a mouth breather.
that is insane.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's wow.
Like, as in, I think for men, sometimes they're a bit hesitant to get into breathwork meditation, but if you say it's for performance,
Straight away.
better at work,
Yeah.
better at running, better at training, they'll do it. How did you find your practitioners for MYND?
We have two amazing guides, Bonnie and Nikki.
How did you find them?
So
Because I saw your little reel. I was like, meet the team.
loved it. So Bonnie is actually a Core Plus instructor. Sorry, she's a yoga teacher, but she is also at Core Plus, and that's where I go to do my Pilates and yoga. And probably a year before we actually were like, okay, let's go, I was sitting in her class and I said, God, if we ever get to the point where we can record content, I really want it to be her. I just think she has a way, obviously she has a beautiful voice, that's a given, but she has a way of holding space when there's no music on, when people are quiet, and it has to be an art, like that, you know, when she's going to speak next, even though there's no introduction or there's no I don't know, like it's just seamless.
You just got to go on the app and experience it for
Exactly.
yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Explain it better than that. And then we wanted that to make sure that everyone felt that they had somebody on the app. So we got a female voice, which is Bonnie, and then Nikki is our male voice, because I said to Bonnie, okay, we want you in male form. And she said, I've got the right person.
Oh, how
Yeah.
good.
And actually it's been incredible, because what started out as, you know, can you guys be on the app and how do you feel, has now become an actual real team. Like, they are so invested in what we're doing. They love it as well. And yeah, it's just been incredible. They're amazing.
When you really get to know practitioners and like build that relationship, it's super special.
Yeah, definitely.
And it also allows them to share their teachings with a global community, really.
Yeah.
Like the options are endless.
Yeah.
When you teach in a studio, maybe you fit 20 people. So if you can help the masses through an app, it's like, why not?
Yeah. And it's so ingrained in what they do already. They're talking, I mean, especially yoga, you're connecting breath with movement, with mind. Like that's what it is. And so this is just so natural for them. I would have stumbled a million times. They just go.
So good.
And they make it their own, which is what I love as well. Like it's not like, yes, there's a script because we have to have, boundaries of where that goes, but they put in their own words, they put in their own pauses because that's what they do the best.
Yeah.
And so we just let them do that.
Yeah. And watching them work in the studio when we're recording, like we have to be on to like listen to the words, but you end up like getting into a meditative state as well, and you're sort of like, where are we?
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing is that Bonnie, like she talks and she like is doing this thing with her hands, and like Nikki does other things with his hands, and the way they count because they're so used to being like of the movement, and it just is beautiful. It's actually beautiful to watch as well.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So where do you guys see MYND going in the next 5 to 10 years? Like what's the goal? What's the vision?
I think the goal, I mean, first and foremost is to just help people. We've had our beta out for 2 months, and one of the early feedback we got from this woman was that she was she had a panic attack, and she went to MYND, and it made her feel so much better. And I said to Ash, if everything fails from here and we got that one piece of feedback, like that's the best thing that we could have done. Like, it's like being able to help people from that point. And I think our goal is to go global. We want to be able to touch people and make them feel better and give them a safe space to go to, because MYND is built for everyday moments. So being able to interact with the app when you're either at work, you're about to prepare for a meeting, or you've had an argument with your partner or your family or your loved one, being able to just turn to the app and feel comfort.
And it's real because I know, I don't know if this is a tangent, but if people are turning to AI for a lot of things, for advice, like, and sometimes it's nice to just go within and listen to your thoughts or use your breath. You don't need to search for answers. It's just it's finding presence.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the app does really nicely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So 5 to 10 years, do you want to go global? Do you have any dream teachers, dream people to collab with? Can we put out to the universe?
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a good question.
It's a really good, I think I'd really love somebody in the breathwork space. I think that would be an incredible collaboration, like your Breath House or Eddie, as you're saying before.
She's probably listening. So Eddie.
Bit of a shout out.
I gave you a shout out before, so we're back.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we're kind of, we're really wanting to focus on the community as well. So I think that even though I'm sure at some point we could come up with a really long list of who we'd like to partner and collab with, I think the biggest thing is like actually building community. That's what I would love. I always say that I won't mind to be used in a sentence the way that we use Uber.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
And if you have a community that has that, then what a win.
I mean, community first.
Yeah,
community
always.
is everything. So we get the vision now, but let's just go down to basics. How does the app work for the community listening who want to get involved?
So when you do your onboarding, you'll be asked 2 questions. How often you want to be checked in with. So obviously we always have like those pop-ups on our phones, and they sometimes come at really inconvenient times. So you can actually choose when you want notifications and the days that you want notifications, or you don't actually have to have them if you don't want them. And then the next thing is your activity preferences. So we have quite a wide range of activities. Some people would say that certain things don't work for them. And so if they're in challenging times, what do they do then? And so you can actually untick anything you don't want to see in the app, and we won't show it to you. So you're curating something that you know is going to be best for you. Then you'll find your homepage. You can either go straight to an activity or you can do a check-in. In the check-in, there's like little bubbles of the emotions, and you can pick up to 4. So that's also quite unique within the app. So we can really drill down into how you're feeling and also then give you the right content. So if you pick a range of emotions, say you're feeling anxious and panicky, that's a different thing that you need than if you're anxious and excited. So I can be anxious and excited to come into the pod, but if I'm anxious and panicked, I probably need something really different. So if I pick anxious and panicky, I'll be given a range of activities that are suited to help me with those emotions. So that's meditation, breath work, visualization, grounding. Our tapping features coming soon. We have a journal option. We have a connect section as well, because again, connection is super important. And we have a physical movement as well. So you'll be given a range of exercises to help you manage, or you can just go straight into your activities and just do your own journey there.
Yeah. Super easy to use.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, I always ask the guests what advice they would give to their younger self. So Dean, first.
So I've got 2 parts. I think being able to question the why, and I think that's something my dad taught me a lot, is not just accepting things, understanding why you're doing it, why things are happening that way. That way you're going to learn from it rather than just doing something. On the same note, just doing it. So trusting your gut. If you feel confident about something, and if it backfires, learn from it as well. And I think that's where you get all your best learnings from. If you fail from something, realize why you've done or why you failed, and learn from that.
Yeah, so good. Ash?
I think I would tell my younger self that like one day your mental health will be your strength. I think was always found that it felt like a weakness, and vulnerability is key. Yeah. Like have the vulnerable conversations. When you're in vulnerable situations, that's actually where things seem to shine. That's where strength is. I think Brene Brown always says vulnerability is the key to creativity, because it is. And I think just be more vulnerable or be stronger in your vulnerability.
Yeah, beautiful. I feel that we see so much perfectionism, everything perfect. Let's really break that stigma with this episode. So thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Let the community know where they can find you and download the app.
So we're now live on the app stores for Android and Apple. So if you just type in MYND app, so MYND and app, you'll be able to find us, get a 14-day free trial, and let us know what you think.
Are you going to do a little offer for the girls?
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to offer your community a 20% discount on our monthly subscription using the code Selfdom.
Amazing. We're so excited.
Thank you.
Let us know if you guys download it, share it on your stories. Mm-hmm. Make sure they follow you on Instagram.
Yes.
Is it MYND app?
MYND app _
Amazing. I'm Selfdom _ You know,
yes.
It's just how it is sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes the names.
Yeah, they're taken. They're taken. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for joining me. And we will see you guys on our Thursday episode for Real Talk.